Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are now listening to That Infernal Noise podcast, part of the Mental Health News Radio Network. Fuck yeah. Hi, everyone. We're back. It wasn't 3 weeks this time. It was just a normal.
It's a week and a day from when we last record. Wait, did we record on? We recorded on a Saturday last time. Yeah, because I got up Sunday. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. And we're back, and we're not, we could just have a normal conversation this time. I mean, it's not going to be a normal conversation. It's never a normal
That's why I
conversation.
was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But I mean, there's no, we don't have to update people on, all the bullshit that's been going on. It's just been life and not the life of what's next.
I mean, it is a little bit of that.
But I think that's more anxiety and stuff like that of oh my God. Because I'm just glad that we had a normal fucking week. That's all.
Sort of. For the most part, like Friday morning, and then.
Oh, that okay.
Or was it? Was it Friday? Or was it Saturday?
Wasn't there something Friday morning? I don't know. Okay, well, we've been having trouble sleeping lately. Well, not even necessarily going to sleep. It's more so staying asleep.
Well, it's not even staying asleep, because I can go to sleep and stay asleep, and I'll wake up, and usually I'm able to go back to sleep pretty quick, and so are you.
Yeah, but okay. So outside of I guess it's just residual feelings of anxiety or trepidation or whatever the case is of all the bullshit that's been happening for the past, let's see, it's now October, so
40 years?
Well, that too, but more specifically, we've had just a lot of bullshit in the past, like I said, October, so last 6 months. It's just been so much. And it's just been bullshit. And it's
It's like my resting heart rate increased by 7 points in general, and there was I thought I was doing better. I wasn't really tripping on anything, nothing like that, but the residual shit caught up to my body. And it threw me all out of whack, which of course makes me worry about other shit. And just
because your head automatically goes to a medical place of what does this mean for me, and that's reasonable and understandable.
And then as soon as it peaked at 70, which of course I went back and looked and see where my highs and shit were.
Of course.
And the last one was around Mom's birthday. I think it was if I'm not mistaken, it was the week before Mom's birthday.
Wow.
And it hit 70 then too. And then it immediately started falling back down.
It did.
What happened this past time too. It hit 70 the same day. It came down to 69, and now I think I'm at 66. So I'm closer to where I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 66.
And me, I'm
You don't keep up with all that shit.
I can't, because I become obsessive about it.
And I do too, to a certain extent, but I know that for my peace of mind, I'm going to freak out more
with you having it off than on. And I'm the exact opposite. If I have something to look at, I'm going to will myself
and you
to
saw
see that it goes
saw
down
me.
or go up.
I 100% did that initially, and you made me take it off and deal with it for what was it, a week or something, and then I got back to where I was like, okay, I'm not going to obsess over it.
That was right after Mom passed.
Yeah.
Though, so it was very touch and go if you were going to listen to me or take my advice.
But see, I told you that initially. The moment we found out, well, the day, it wasn't the moment, because it was after we were handling everything and then came back home. Like, I'm going to need you. You are going to have to tell me what I need to do, because I know I'm not going to be here for God knows how long. I was like, I'm going to need you to help me with all of this.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm stepping out of line, if I'm being too obsessive, whatever the fuck. And I knew that was coming. because I know me and how death affects me.
Yeah.
And to your credit, you did, and I didn't really fight you on any of that shit. It's like if you said, hey, you should probably... Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And that's...
And I think all of that residual shit is finally catching up to us physically. Because it's fucking with my sleep the way it did initially whenever she passed.
Yeah. And now, mine isn't, and it's so weird that this is the thing that it's changed into, because it's not falling asleep.
Which was the thing you had a problem with before.
Yeah, because I have lots of nighttime trauma. For anyone who knows, you know. And so I don't feel safe, and that's why I have trouble sleeping on my back. Because my body's exposed. That's gone away.
But you are not comfortable sleeping on your back. You're comfortable sleeping on your stomach more so anyway. So.
And I used to be a side sleeper because I would curl up. But so.
That's still the most comfortable way for me to sleep.
It hurts my shoulders and my hips now.
It depends for me.
That's
like
fair.
sometimes but whenever you get out of bed in the morning and I go back to sleep for 30 minutes, that's how I have to sleep.
Yeah.
And it ends up alleviating all the pressure, even though it caused it. But I'm also like side sleeping and I can't curl up because you're right up on me.
You will.
It used to bother me. Now it's just like, I'll deal with it. I'll have a twinge in my fucking shoulder for a little bit and then it'll work out. It's fine. I don't care.
I don't do it consciously. I do it in my sleep. So I find you in my sleep.
That's not true. You do it consciously too. Because whenever you're getting comfortable, you start scooting your way over. And you don't even realize how far
it's still
over you are.
subconsciously, though.
But you're still awake is my point.
Oh. Yeah, but really encroaching on your space happens in my sleep. But yeah, I don't have the problems that I used to going to sleep now. And it's not even necessarily staying asleep. It's when my brain starts to kind of wake up in the morning. It takes that little bit of, is it time? And runs. And I hate it. And it's been coupled with a lot of anxiety. A lot of anxiety. And
I'm going to talk about what happened the other day.
okay, so with everything that's been going on with Kaylee in the past couple weeks, and like I said, there's just been a lot going on, especially in the past 6 months. It's just, it's taken an emotional and mental toll on me and there's been some slight regression when it comes to my thought processes on how I want to handle certain situations, because there have been certain situations, and I know you know which ones I'm talking about,
where I talking about the shit today,
where I have wanted to revert back, like, you bitches don't fucking know you.
The petty Betty bullshit.
Yes, and my therapist in some situations where it's like, that's not petty, but it is. This would have been,
but it doesn't matter. Like, it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel worse.
Yeah.
Like, short term, you're going to get that rush of dopamine.
Yeah.
But afterwards, you're going to be questioning whatever the fuck, and it's just
who I am as a human being.
Yeah, and because I don't want you to go down that route because you've made so much progress in that aspect. I don't want you to feel like you're reverting.
And that's fair. But hear me out. Slight. I'm not going to do anything crazy. Hear me out. I've always had to be the level-headed one for the vast majority of my life. My therapist has said I have been 45 since I've been 3 years old, and I've always
Which is funny because that's essentially what we've always said about Kaylee.
Yeah. And it's like, okay.
But she didn't have to. That was just so
she
personal.
just had an older soul. Yeah. She wanted to watch like Murder, She Wrote and shit like that. I had to be an adult at a child. And I think that's another thing. I think that's what... That's why it's so hard for me to let those things go. Because yes, I have done petty things in my life. We all have. We've all... at some point taken the lower road, which who calls it the high road and the low road anyway? Sometimes people need the low roads anyway. Anyway.
Sometimes the low road's the path of least resistance.
I'm telling you. But I think that's why I have because I do just want to let these things go. I do want to just go on living my life but there's that sense of injustice that I've had my entire life because of how I was raised and because I had to be 45 at the age of 3. And just talking about it now is like, that's why. I think that's why I have such a hard time just because it's easy to say, just let it go. Just let it go. You know that XYZ or that group of people or that person or that situation, they're not going to change. It's not going to change, whatever the case is. And it's so easy to say, yeah, just let it go. Just keep living your life, blah, 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 blah. But that strong sense of injustice and the fact that I've had to take the high road and be the mature one and be this and be that for so fucking long. I'm 38 years old. And I've had to do this the vast majority of my life. And not even just because of other people, because of my mother. It's like, what do I do? I didn't get a rebellious streak. I didn't do those petty teenager things. Nothing like that. And I just realized that now. That's why it's so hard for me right now as an adult to let that shit go. Because I want to burn the world down in those moments. Because fuck you. You're in the wrong and I know you're in the wrong. And how dare you try to make it look otherwise? How fucking dare you? I thank you for telling me to talk about Friday then, because I just realized that. So I will work on that continuously to try to just let those things go. But going back to Friday, sorry, that was a weird revelation. Yay, thank you guys for being present for that. I do need to find different ways to soothe my inner teenager that's pissed off.
Yeah, because that's the one. It's not the kid.
It's my inner teenager
that wants to fucking go at everybody's throat.
Mm-hmm. Because I want to hurt people's feelings with the truth, not with I want to just lash out to lash out. I want to say the truth to you until it makes sense to you.
But see, you're assuming that logic will be seen in certain situations,
and it won't.
You and I have come across way too many people in the course of our lives where the more logic you presented them with, the more steadfast they were, and fuck you. And what is that going to solve?
It's not. And
there are so many situations where that is applicable.
Because I have... what pisses me off the most is like, especially when you have something to point to. I have evidence. I have proof. I have receipts, bitches. Like, are you fucking serious? And that feeling of, do you know, and this is not, I don't want to destroy people. I don't. Even to my own mother who destroyed me. I don't want to destroy her. I don't. I want her to fucking acknowledge and accept the shit she did. Instead of, well, maybe I just shouldn't have had kids. Bitch, I'm 30. At the time, I was 35. A little late for that shit. That's a way to resolve the situation.
Well, now you don't have your eldest kid, so kudos, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Welcome to your life.
You got your wish.
You don't have kids, or you lost one. Cool. But I think that's another strong point of where it's like, when I have receipts, because you know me, I usually don't come off crazy unless I have receipts. I'm not going to, for the vast majority of the time.
Outside of our relationship, yes. Because there has been times where you flipped out about shit and it's just like, no.
That is not the case.
That's your insecurity. Yes. That's your brain fucking with you. Calm down.
Yes. And I try
and I know it's rich me saying that, but...
And I try to keep those few and far between. I try to keep everything in check as much as I can. Excuse me. But when I have receipts, Because I've seen things where it's like, if I'm asking you a question, if I'm asking
I'm
you...
giving you an opportunity to tell me the truth because I already know.
The way I was raised, you don't ask questions without the answer to it. You don't come to someone and say, hey, where were you last Friday? If you don't know where the motherfucker was last Friday. You don't do that. That's just not how you do things. That's not how I was raised. But
because you're giving them an opportunity to lie to you.
Yeah, I'm giving you an opportunity. I'm going to ask you a question. Are you going to be honest with me? I prefer transparency over honesty.
Like, hey, I saw da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. I prefer transparency over honesty.
No, the other shit's passive-aggressive. Like a motherfucker.
It is.
Because you're trying to trap somebody, essentially.
But...
And I know that because I did that.
But on the other hand, if you were to go up to somebody and say, hey, I know you saw so-and-so and you did such and such on Friday and you didn't tell me about it. Why was that? Then it's the immediate... How do you know that?
And if that's your... And me as a 40-year-old person, if that's your response, cool. Fucking whatever. Done. Like... You're fucking toxic and insane. I don't want to deal with this shit.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. Little side note. If you call yourself psycho and then don't get to be called toxic, you need to fix something. By the way, if you're allowed to say I'm crazy, I'm psycho, I'm toxic, I'm this, I'm that, and then someone else who has a legitimate thing says you're crazy, psycho, toxic, whatever, you can't be like, how can you use that word? No. Take a step back, take a long look at it. Just throwing that out there. But
we don't like to be confronted with our own shit.
No.
It's like the kids. They can fight with each other, but if somebody else fucks with them, it's
that's my brother
you.
Or sister.
You don't say that. It's the same principle. Yeah. Both are idiotic. Just for the record. I understand that siblings do that, but I've always hated that shit.
Same.
Like, just fucking love each other. Like, yes, y'all are going to fight, but it doesn't have to be that serious.
Yes. But with all that being said, and me actually trying to be the bigger person, the taking the high road, I hate all of those adages. I hate that verbiage.
It sounds so fucking uppity in the first place.
Yeah, because it has an air of superiority to it, and that's not who I am. I'm just trying to fucking live my life with as much.
And people already
peace.
Think we have that mentality anyway.
Oh hell yeah! Oh fuck yes.
Like,
you think that you're so
I'm not getting into that shit again.
It is what it is. But with all that being said, being who I am comes with a lot of anxiety, a lot of self-analysis, a lot of, am I doing things right? Maybe I should try a different attempt. Do I need to try a different attempt? Was I out of line in this way? It's a lot. And with Kaylee's, trip to the hospital, and then her in college, and then luckily I got to spend some time with Chris because unfortunately he had
life happened.
Yeah, it was stuff with his car and stuff, yeah. But I got to spend some one-on-one time with him, which I haven't had to do, or I haven't been able to do in like
2 years,
4, when I was teaching him how to drive.
Oh, you mean like real? Okay, I see what
wow, sorry.
20 minutes in.
Sorry, I didn't realize that. But I haven't. So Friday morning, I woke up with a lot of anxiety about who I am as a mom. And me saying I haven't spent one-on-one time with my adult son didn't help that in 4 years. Sorry. So as someone who didn't have a mom when I was pregnant, for someone who didn't have a dad when I was pregnant, for someone who I didn't have anyone to turn to when I was pregnant, even not, oh, I just realized how close I was. Not even just when I was pregnant, because obviously I didn't give birth to Chris, Kaylee, and Noe. But I had no one to turn to ask questions. This has been a really DIY motherhood for me. I have a bunch of examples of what I don't want to do, who I don't want to be. And because our life is what it is, and the state of America, I mean, even on that global scale of how hard it is to make doctor's appointments or get the help we need, or financially, just as a country, as there's just a lot going on in my head. And then when it comes down specifically to our household, to what I do as a mother, to how I handle my kids, how I have handled my kids, I haven't always been proud of who I am, especially as a mom.
Even though that's where you've fallen short the least.
I woke up with a lot of anxiety. Because my adult daughter didn't ask me for food. And I didn't think to ask her if she needed food. That was what started it. Kaylee's at UNT, and she does not have the weekend, the 7-day-a-week meal plan, but she does have her own mini fridge, and we do get her groceries. And we had to go out there on Friday night
to drop off some diabetic supplies.
To drop off another meter, but then I had the previous night, I had the thought of, does she need anything else? And I was trying to get everything in order. But then I was also thinking about things that I need, or I haven't historically gotten done for my kids. Dentist appointments, or, things like that. And it just all kind of just sat on my chest Friday morning. And I have no one to call. I don't have another mom to talk to. But I am so grateful that I have you as my husband and my partner, because you are a partner. And I know that people are like, why do you call your husband partner? Because he's my fucking this is a team effort. And you and I haven't always worked the best as a team. Even.
We came together whenever we needed to,
Fair.
even at our most fucked up.
That's fair.
Like, shit got handled the way it needed to get handled. But I get what you're saying.
So I'm so very grateful that I have you and who you are now and all the work that you've done. And I tell you that every night. I say that I'm grateful that we have done and will continue to do the work every single night because of stuff like this. Getting to talk to my son and hear his plans for the future and who he has become and what he wants to do for the future mother of his child and things like that. It's beautiful. And I'm so glad that
the boy's always had a good heart on him.
He really has.
And I am very proud of him for that. And that has nothing to do with me. That's all. That's
it's
him.
It's
That's
his
him.
heart.
It's his choices that he's making.
Yeah.
And sidebar, that the shit that he's been doing occasionally, where he'll text me what I used to say to them dropping them off at school. Like the first day I fucking cried.
Yeah.
Because it's just, he's taking the time out of his day to say that.
Yeah.
And he's not the disingenuous type. He's not the one that would do some shit just to make somebody feel better. He's doing it because he wants to do it.
Yeah.
And that shit just, it got me. It fucking got me.
So unfortunately, I had to wake you up.
No, you didn't. I woke up. I heard you in the bathroom, and I wake up whenever you get up to go to the bathroom, but I could tell something was off, so I was just like, what the fuck? So I waited for you to come back out.
And you asked if I was okay because I had already been awake since like 5
See,
a.m.
I didn't know of all that.
Yeah, I had already been awake since like 5. And I was just laying there. And I'm, because we all have to emotionally regulate ourselves. This is our emotions are our own. No one else is in charge of making us happy, sad, whatever. We need to regulate ourselves. And I'm sitting there and I'm doing the check-ins with myself. Hey, what do I need right now? Why am I feeling this way? What's going on? What triggered this? It's okay that we haven't always been perfect. It's okay that we make mistakes now. It's okay that we're feeling this way. It's okay that we're awake. It's okay that we're feeling insecure. But, we can also, and I do these in personal check-ins where it's like, or conversations where it's like, okay, yes, it's okay that we're doing this now, but we can panic about this later because there's literally nothing we can do about it right now. And it has worked where it's like my brain says, oh, you're absolutely right. And I'm able to go back to sleep. And this just wasn't one of those days. So I got up, I got dressed in my comfy clothes, nothing. I wasn't like getting ready for my day.
Or anything.
Yeah, I wasn't like, I didn't like get ready for the day, but I did get not my pajamas on. And I walked out of the door and you were like, are you okay? And I just couldn't.
You broke down immediately. And I say that with all the love. Like, I'm glad you did. Because I think you are waiting. You're waiting for people to care a lot of the time. Because you think a lot of people don't.
Not okay. Yes and no.
Sort of.
Let me make a small correction. Not that people don't care. It's just that my life and the way I viewed, I just don't think
You don't think you're important enough?
Yeah. I think, yeah.
How's that any different?
Oh, well.
I think that's semantics, but that's my opinion.
Because I don't want to put my shit on other people. Like, I don't want to think that other people don't.
You let me penetrate you on a regular basis. I'm just saying. And like, I hate to be that crude about it, but if you're allowing that, you know what I mean? Like, you sharing your feelings shouldn't be.
See, but the thing is that I have a very traumatic.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying from an outside logic perspective, it should be easier to share your feelings as a person than it should be to share your body with somebody.
You would think. You would fucking think, right? Yeah, but when you're...
That just shows you how fucked up our generation is.
When you're trauma-filled, it's the exact opposite. Yay. But yeah,
you came out,
and I'm very thankful that you, because I do struggle with opening up. I do struggle with.
Oh, I know.
Being a burden, or feeling, not being. Let me correct myself.
I'm about to say, because the few times that I have felt burdened was because I had so much other shit on my plate, and I told you, hey, I can't fucking deal with this right now. Like, I am sorry. I want to be here for you, but I don't have the bandwidth right now. Like, I really don't.
And that has been few and far between.
It's very few and far between. And I still feel like shit in those moments because I know I can't help you.
Yeah.
And I hate that. That's why you started therapy in the first place, because that was one of those instances.
Yeah, that was a time where I needed to be at that psychiatric ER, or that was a time that I needed to go sit in a waiting room and wait for my name to be called. It really was.
Anyway, sorry. I deviated from the point. Again.
And I don't even remember all of what I said, to be honest. I don't.
Basically everything you just said, and then there was other shit mixed in there. Honestly, the majority of it was me talking.
And me just sobbing. I was curled in a ball, and you were holding me, and you were stroking my hair, and it was great. Shitty circumstances. I don't want to wake up that way. Oh, these bitches better take note. This is why I keep my mouth shut. This is why I keep my mouth shut. So I don't second guess who I am as a person. So I don't wake up crying. Because I told the truth on motherfuckers. And it makes me feel bad.
And that's why I've told you everything that I have recently. It's like, it's not going to work out the way you think it's going to.
I know.
Not that I don't want you to do it. Because, you know, I'm fucking...
Burn it down.
I'll burn the fucking bridge while I'm on it laughing. Because I'm just that fucking asshole sometimes. But I know that's not feasible in pretty much every situation now, because of where you are as a person and what it's going to do to you later.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen many times.
Yeah.
Even whenever you were right and justified to do exactly that, I saw what it did to you after the fact.
The aftermath isn't really worth it.
It's not. It's really not, because it destroys your peace in a big, bad way.
And I have fought for the past 4 years.
Longer than that.
I have fought longer than that, but
super active, making life-changing, life-altering choices to get away from it for the past 5 years or so.
And it's... You think it gets easier with realizing more about yourself and...
We're ogres. You know what I mean? Like, we're layered. That's not simple shit where you peel one off and then you're just like, okay, I'm good now. Like, no, there's another one, and then another one.
And then when you think you got to rock fucking bottom, that some bitch has a basement with a condo and another basement. Like...
It becomes fractal.
It does. Because... And a lot of people... And I saw a beautiful video... And I was telling you about it because I forgot to send it to you. And it was a woman, and it started off the same way, but she did the video a little bit different. She had the empty mason jar, and she says, these are, ping pong balls, these are core beliefs, these are programming that you had, then the little sprinkles of other bullshit, and then smaller pieces of other things. And we've all seen something like it. Then she pours the water, and she, and then she was using it as an analogy of handling your own shit, your emotional journey, you actually realizing everything, working on everything, and why people stop. And she has the jar full of stuff, and she's pouring the water, and everything kind of, she was like, you see everything's floating to the top. All your trauma, all your shit is at the bottom. But once you start this talk therapy and you start if you choose to medicate, or your own personal journey, whatever your journey is, she was like, all of that's going to come to the top. And she was like, you see it sitting all right here at the top. And this is why even if people do start therapy, they quit. They stop their journey here because they're too scared of all of this.
Some people don't even get that far.
Yeah.
Because they feel it and they're like, nope, not dealing with this.
Yeah. And then she continues and she was like, okay, another this many percent stop here. This many percent stop here. If you're here, you only have 5% left.
But you don't know that.
Yeah. And the thing was to never stop. You can never stop. Once the bell has been rung, my outlook at it is, now that the bell's been rung, going back is a choice. I am choosing to hurt myself. I am choosing to disrespect myself, to be to be inauthentic and disingenuous to myself. So I cried. You sat with me, you laid with me.
Must say there wasn't no sitting. We were laying down the entire time.
We were laying down. Because you were just like, come lay down. I was like, okay. And even in this, it really, really makes me stop and look at my own mother.
Everybody that didn't take.
Yeah. Because, yeah, this is scary. And no one likes to, like you said earlier, no one wants to be confronted with their own shit. I get it. It's not fun. And life's not fair. But.
The fuck?
I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to misstep. I'm going to misspeak. I'm going to snap at people. I'm going to cry. I'm going to yell. I'm going to do things that aren't always in order the way I try to be. And while I'm not comfortable with that because of my self-worth things and things that I'm still working through, because I feel that in order for me to be cared for,
you have to be
loved,
providing something.
I have to be, some sort of service.
It has to be equitable in some form or fashion. You can't be the only one being taken care of, which is bullshit, but.
Right. So it's not even like task, like, I do the dishes, I do the laundry. It's not that. It's, what emotional services I can provide as well. And that's been my whole life. So I totally forgot where I was going with that point, but it's just hard. To be okay with making mistakes. Especially when you're in charge of other human beings. Because even though the initial anxiety was about my oldest daughter, it almost immediately turned into, what haven't I done for my oldest son? What am I not currently doing for my kids that are at home? Well, I haven't done this, and how can I sit here and call myself a good mom if I haven't done blah, blah, blah? I haven't done this. I haven't done this. I haven't done this. I am not here yet. I'm not there yet. I hate that I have that.
What did I tell you?
That, while you don't like that for me either, you don't want to see me suffer, that might be what is making me the mom that I am. And then you told me that it all wasn't true, that I am a good mom, and that it doesn't matter if I make mistakes. Because my kids know. That my kids know that if they need me, that I'll 100% be there. And that even if I don't know what I'm doing in that moment, that I'll figure it out.
You always have.
And then I'll be them be there for them no matter what.
And what I told you in addition to that was you're the one that gets called whenever shit goes down. Like, they don't even call fucking me whenever it goes down, necessarily.
Well, that's because they know you don't answer your phone. You don't really pay attention to your phone.
But they know that like...
Yes.
But you're still the knee-jerk reaction. As you should be, because you're the most dependable out of all the parents, including myself. And I don't say that lightly, because we would all drop whatever the fuck for our kids. But it's just what it is. You don't give yourself enough credit for that.
I have a hard time doing that. And there's a whole other slew of reasons why I have a hard time giving myself any credit when it comes to being a mom. I know I said thank you then, but thank you. Our lives have become very, not lonely, because I'm not lonely when I'm with you. I'm not lonely when we...
It's lonely in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, we don't have...
Especially since we grew up surrounded by motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, both of us did. And then whenever we got together, it was still much the same. We had this gigantic group of sycophantic twats around us.
And now it's just you and me.
It's literally just us and our kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have some, I have Gabby. I love you. I love you. And then we have Sis and Aaron and their kids, and I adore them. And I'm so grateful that we have them.
And we're able to be a part of their lives actively.
But other than that, it's like we have no one else. No one. And while I'm used to having no one,
still sucks.
Yeah. It does.
Because that's how I felt too.
It's very especially when it's especially more so lonely when shit's popping off. It's like you just want to be able to call somebody and talk to somebody, ask for advice.
But that's why I think our relationship's so important, because that's what we do for each other.
Yeah.
And it's kind of double-edged sword sometimes, because we're having to talk to each other about each other. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that is
I struggle
always,
with that.
That is always, but even I struggle with that. The guy that doesn't give a shit, I still struggle with confronting you with things because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
And I'm not meaning it to hurt your feelings, but I know how it can be taken.
Yeah.
Because I am somewhat abrasive sometimes. I've gotten better. I've gotten fucking better.
You have. You have.
Especially with you, I've gotten better.
Yes, you have.
Like, I try to take your feelings into consideration all the time now. There's still certain instances where it's just like...
I have to say it this way.
Why the fuck did I say that? But...
I think the thing that hurts the most about losing people is because I'm an orphan, pretty much. You know? I don't have relatives. So I treat my chosen family very, very much like my relatives.
It's your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel that
that replaces that thing lost in you.
Until it's broken again. And then I'm like, fuck, okay. Let's see. What lesson did I need to learn from this one? What can I use going forward? What boundaries can I set going forward? Because now I have to set boundaries with people in ways that I didn't think I was going to have to set boundaries with people before.
Well, I mean, that is the whole kid thing. Well, you didn't say, you know what I mean? That's what that mindset is.
Well, you didn't say I couldn't do it like this.
And Logan does that, but he's fucking 11. And I've been just as guilty of it as anybody. Where it's just like, well, it wasn't exactly, and it's just like, okay.
Semantics.
You're playing semantics. You're not actually proving a valid point.
I don't know. I just don't understand. Actually, I sit here and say, I don't understand. I don't understand how people can bop, bop, bop. When I used to bop, bop, bop. Like, I can understand. This shit is fucking scary.
But that's why you don't understand now.
Because I'm on the other side.
You're on the other side of it. And it's like kids that don't know anything. You have to teach them shit. And you're just like, why the fuck don't you know this? It's like, bitch, you're fucking 20 years plus older than this child.
That was a big problem I had when I became a mom.
Like, why don't you know this?
Because I was treated that way. Mm-hmm. I was treated like, why the fuck don't you know how to do this? Because at their age... I got a lot of
frustration, too.
Because at their age, I was already doing it. I had to. I was cooking for myself by 6, 7. I was doing my own laundry. 8 years old. Like, I was doing other people's laundry at that. I was cleaning. I was scrubbing. I was, you know what I mean? And so when I really had to take a step back, it's funny you say that because it's like, oh wait, I have to remember. This is a normal pace.
This is how children are supposed to learn over time, not immediately.
Yes.
Like, we're supposed to take care of them initially. We're supposed to do those things for them so they can see us doing them.
Yeah. I don't know. This parenthood shit is fucking weird. It really is. It's rewarding. I'm not saying it's not. It is. Watching humans, because you're not like people who are like, those are my kids. Yeah, and I do say my kids and blah 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 blah, and I did raise my kids, and yes, but at the end of the day, I don't actually mean like they're an extension of me, like they're my possessions.
Yeah, no.
They're not. They're their own. They're humans. You're creating human beings.
Like, we don't give them guilt trips. Well, you're a reflection of me, kind of such. We don't do that shit. It's like, no, you're a reflection of yourself.
Be like, okay, let's act like we've been in public before.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing. That's not us saying, oh, well, you're my kid, you better act right.
Yeah,
like,
don't
you're gonna
make me look bad.
Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're a kid. You're going to scream. I'm telling you, it's a bad fucking idea. Because really there will be consequences.
Yes. But it's
like even to this day, the older two still like cringe whenever they hear a kid screaming in public. Or like, God, Dad wouldn't have let us get away with that shit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like, you just don't do that. And it's not you're making me look bad. It's you look like a fucking asshole. You look like one of those asshole kids, and I don't like asshole kids. Stop.
Yeah. But it's weird. Like, this parenthood shit is weird because they are humans. Yeah, you do have to literally do everything for them up to a point, but then there's a change. And we have children in multiple different stages of life.
Kaylee's just now figuring it out. Chris is starting to get his feet underneath him and figuring out his shit
and what he wants in his life.
What he wants going forward. Kaylee's still trying to figure out where she's at. And then the little two are just the little two.
They're in middle school.
Yeah, so they're still figuring that part out. But even them, they're more well-adjusted than we were at that age.
I would say so. My 6th grade year... rough year for me.
Everything was a rough year for me.
That's fair.
Like, but we haven't had the disciplinary issues outside of a little like shit that kids do.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we haven't had any big disciplinary issues. There hasn't been any academic issues.
No.
Like, they're pretty self-sufficient in that aspect, and we were not.
No. Well, I didn't. Well, no, I didn't have greater behavior issues either.
I did.
I didn't because
I just didn't give a shit about school, and you couldn't tell me fucking nothing. I was like, fuck you, I don't have to do this.
Oh, see, again, this also shifts back to the way you were raised and the way I was raised. I was raised by her, and I almost said her name, I'm sorry. I was raised by her, and only her. I didn't have a father, and then even when my brother's father was in the picture, that was short-lived. And
a shit show.
And a shit show. Very abusive, very, very, it was giving vibes of cleaning your mom's blood off a wall before they got married.
It's not giving vibes, that's what happened.
Oh, that's not how we use the vibe thing? Oh. Anyway,
that's one of those moments where everybody sits back and like, no, dude, that's not fucking funny. That's what that is.
That's when you get the pity looks. Though.
Just so you know, that's exactly that moment.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts. You were passing classes. You were doing the work. Because
I was told that too. And
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I don't have to do shit. I mean, I never failed a class until 9th grade. Mm-hmm. Like, I failed that year because I did not give a fuck anymore.
I really want to know what other thought processes happened in other adults' heads that were around me. Because my 4th grade teacher, Miss McLaughlin, I feel so bad for her. Because I got a B in her class. In one subject. It was 1B in like whatever subject it was. Full on fucking meltdown I had in this woman's class.
In 4th grade.
In 4th grade. Because I was terrified. Not that I was disappointed in myself. Not that I was sad. Not that I had an agreement with my mother that if I made all A's that I was going to get something. Or I was terrified of going home. Because I didn't have all A's. I was terrified. I was so scared. And then the next year, oh, no. That was the same year. My choir teacher said that I rolled my eyes at her. And I didn't. And then I had to sit in front of a man who wasn't my father while he slept until I came up with a reason of why I did it. So those were my behavioral issues. But, and the grades were because okay, this is going to be TMI for some people. When, I don't do confrontation. And I know that a lot of other women say, I don't argue. I don't do this. I don't.
They're fucking lying.
It physically, and you can attest to this, it physically messes with me. I get the bubble guts. And if I'm not careful, I will shit myself. Like, if I can't take a breath, like, my body, I don't do arguments. Talking about it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel like there's like a
no, I know.
Right here. And it makes me feel like something is just snatching me right here. And I can't move. It's debilitating. I do not like confrontation. So yeah, I've just always been terrified. And I've had stomach issues and things like that because of that. But it's like, I didn't do that to my kids, hopefully.
I did. That's why they still fucking twitch if I raise my voice, even joking.
Because I can yell at them all day, every day. They'll laugh at me.
It doesn't do nothing.
I've yelled at Logan. I've gotten onto him. And I saw the corner of his mouth twitch up into a smile. Man, I wanted to knock his front through his back, okay? I didn't, obviously. But you raise your voice slightly. Everyone shuts the fuck up and I just want that power one time.
But I think most moms would say that exact same thing.
Yes, and it doesn't work until a dad voice is on it. It's stupid. Anyway,
It's true.
It is.
But we have to be the disciplinarians all
Yeah.
the time, regardless of who's actually doing the majority of the parenting.
That's fair.
It's not a deterrent until dad steps in,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And that's why I think it's crucial to have a mother and a father. It doesn't necessarily have to be biological, but you have to have those two archetypes in the house.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Yeah. And for anyone, before you start,
And I don't
he
mean
is not
I don't
talking
mean
about someone with a penis and someone with a vagina.
I mean
a masculine
archetype
energy
and a feminine
energy.
Because you have
Stop
to have
it.
the balance in it.
Yes.
You just have to.
Yes.
I ended up emotionally irregulated because of that exact thing. My dad bailed before I was even fucking born, and I was raised by essentially nothing but feminine energy. My grandfather was there, but he was always working, and he's not exactly the hands-on parenting type with me.
Not a feelings type of guy.
Not with me. No, in general.
Yeah,
like
no,
he
I
didn't
just-
step in until shit got sideways, and grandma was like, "You have to fucking
Help
say
me."
something, do something, whatever the fuck."
Yes.
And it was always, "Don't make me tell your grandpa." And then I just got to a certain point where it's like, "I don't give a fuck. Tell him." Like, what's he gonna do? I'm bigger than him now. And that is a whole nother fucking thing. But I forgot what my point was with that.
I don't know how we got down to this point, but because of who we are as people and how we were raised and the terrifying nature, I guess, I don't know. I guess I just look at it differently because I was always scared as a kid. I was always scared. And I am scared a lot as an adult.
That goes back to the discussion we always have. The two dogs. Like, the two dogs were treated the exact same way. You reclused, I start snapping back.
Yeah.
I only took so much of that shit before I started, like, fucking laughing at people whenever I'd get hit.
I'm sorry. When I'm in an argument and someone smiles, or if I'm having a serious conversation, someone smirks, someone smiles, it makes me want to turn into my mother. Because my mother is unfucking hinged. And I've seen it. I've seen her black out and then her come to and be like, what happened? I feel that it is so disrespectful. And I'm so glad that our kids never actually did it to us.
Well, they knew. They knew if it ever fucking happened, I wouldn't be able to control the fucking backhand. It would just happen.
Yeah. But even outside of our kids, like on a whole world
Well,
level.
see, but I never did it. Well, once I got older, I did because I realized the power it had. But as a kid, I just got tired of getting hit to the point where it happened one time and I just laughed and I was like, is that it? And
I would have never.
Things changed drastically after that.
She would have killed me. I wholeheartedly believe that she
where
would have.
the blackout in me has benefited me because I have scared people, not realizing it and not intending to. Because other things had happened, other things were said, and the dynamic shifted. And that's when I started being shipped to my grandparents more and more. And from that point on, I was mainly living there.
I think
because something clicked off cognitively and I just reacted and it terrified other people.
I think I know it is. I think I know specifically which.
There were several, but yes, you probably do because I've told you all my stories now. But those are some of the first times I remember that shit happening where I just go.
Ooh, now that we say this, and I know that this has been like a show of revelations, kind of, but like, I think subconsciously, I think that's why I was so terrified and I fell in line so hard and didn't question shit and didn't try to stand up for myself in any situation because I knew for a fact that I had nowhere else to go. I didn't have a father. I didn't have a paternal side of the family. I didn't have, she went away from her own family. So I literally only had her. I was so secluded. I only had her. I didn't really,
realistically think I had anybody. I thought I was going to end up just getting kicked out on the fucking street, to be completely fucking honest. Because every time I got in trouble, it was, you're going to go to the military school. Oh, we're going to drop you. Like, I was told I was going to get dropped off at the fucking orphanage. Like, and I never thought about that until just now. So more revelations, yay. But it just like shit like that was just said. Like,
that's why I try to tell you not to say outlandish shit to the kids.
But I don't say shit like that.
This is very, very
I say shit like, if you touch my food, I'm going to stab you with a fucking fork.
That's fair.
It's in jest, essentially. It's a bad read, but I'm not going to do it. And my children know I'm not going to cross that fucking line.
That's fair.
Hopefully.
But, you know, shit happens. But yeah, I really just think that, I don't know. It's hard to sit here and be like, I think she would have hospitalized me or even killed me in a blackout rage. Not necessarily on purpose. But I really do think that if you'd have
been me, there'd have been fist fights at the very least.
Two points of evidence. I was in the 5th grade. We had a fundraiser, and this is back in the 90s where you could go door to door, because
I mean, some kids still do, but
that's fair. Not so much anymore, but this was I was living in an apartment complex, so I was literally going door to door, and it was dark. It was dark outside. And I had come back a little after I was supposed to. And she literally had me up against a wall by my throat. I was 9. And then my freshman year, I went to Taco Bell with some high school friends. It was band, summer band. You start going to school.
It's a camp thing, basically.
Yeah. And I know you know.
Day camp, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a day camp thing for marching band. So if you're in marching band in high school, you have to go before school starts. Before you even get your fucking schedule, you have to go and you have to start learning your marching routine for the year. And some kids went to Taco Bell. And this is, I'm about to age myself. This is the time before cell phones. So it's not like I could have texted my mother and was like, hey, I'm da 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 da. She was going to go up to the school and I wasn't there. And I understand it was fear. I understand where the emotion came from, and I understand now. But as a freshman in high school, when you're literally having to hold your mom's wrists like this because they are in fist because she is about to punch you, there's a difference. Yes, so if I had turned into you, if I had talked back, because she was never, she's not much bigger than me, but she's about a half an inch taller than me, and crazy hidden strength. That it was one of those, adrenaline where the mom fucking flips the car over the baby kind of thing, where it was just hidden strength that you didn't know she had because she was so unassuming, so tiny. She was very petite, very thin my whole life, very put together. The vast majority of my life, she wouldn't leave the house without makeup on, hair done, very presentable because she's a narcissist. And of course, because of that, I was an extension of her. I was property. I showcased who she was in life. So that's why I behaved the way I did. And of course, I throw around the word narcissist. I'm not her therapist or psychiatrist, obviously.
We've read enough books and seen enough shit where
I'm calling her a narcissist, but
I call them like I sees them. I'm not a medical professional.
Exactly. And my therapist did lightly say that while she doesn't
potential.
There is potential.
Yeah.
No, my therapist did not diagnose my mother, just saying based on what was said. Anyway, I really do think that there was a part of her that could have put me in a hospital.
I wouldn't doubt it.
having her as a mother was terrifying, to say that's putting it nicely. Terrifying. That's the nicest way I can put my experience with her. It was terrifying. And heartbreaking. Because even though she had my brother, it didn't matter. She had me. And that breaks my heart. Because I have 3 kids that are not biologically mine, and I would never put the child that has my genetics, I would never put him above or treat him differently than my other 3 children. Because fuck genetics. Those are my babies. My oldest baby, my college baby, my next to youngest baby, and then my youngest baby. They're all my babies. They're varying levels of my babies. I could never. And I'm going to tell, what I'm about to say is something that my mother said to me about my brother. And I could never imagine telling another one of my kids this about their sibling. Well, I just fucking gave up on him. I already did such a good job with you.
That's always bothered me.
And the fact that he so blindly followed her and is still
You don't know that.
Okay, fair. The fact that it's been some fuck Nisha shit for this whole time. But yeah, I could never do that. I could never, ever. I could never imagine looking at Chris and being like, well, I don't have to try with Logan. Or looking at Kaylee and being like, oh, well, I did so good with Kaylee. She's in college now. Look at me. Like,
the other 2,
I don't have to be a mom anymore. Oh, you guys can fail classes. I have no standards for you guys. You guys can do whatever you want. You guys can drop out of school, which my brother did. You guys can steal shit, and I'm just going to bail you out of jail. And, I'll let you sit in jail overnight. I'll take you to your court dates, but I'm not going to actually enforce you go to school. None of that. Because I did such a good job.
That's when I'd fight my kids. That's the only reason. Like, no, we're not making these fucking decisions.
So while Friday morning, I did feel like a piece of shit mother. I did. I did not feel like a good mom. I didn't even feel like a good enough mom. You know how there's that, just be a good enough mom. I didn't even feel like that morning. Not that I was the worst, but not that I was a good one or a decent one. And again, I know I said I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to feel like a bad mom again. Which sucks. At least I can sit here and look at you. No, fuck that. Fuck that. At the end of the day, I can look at my fucking self in the mirror. Be like, I tried my best. I did my best. In the best interest of my children, not the best interest of myself. In the best interest of my children, I tried. I've tried to make them better than me. Without discounting them, without discouraging them, without pitting them against each other. And that's a massive fucking win for me because that's not how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was sad on Friday, and I'm still kind of sad now.
You at least gained some perspective from it.
Yeah, I did.
Good.
Because not all... and I know I use my own mother as an example, but I know of so many other people who have... And it's mainly females, because the relationship that a lot of males have with their mothers are not the same that the females have with their mothers.
I'm usually the exception in that.
Yeah. You were like the female brood of that.
I mean, I was raised by women my entire life. I've always been called a faggot as much as
don't
I
like
could
that.
be
I know.
because I was more emotional and shit like that. And so it makes sense. And the relationship my mom and I had up until closer to her dying, like it all spoke to that same shit.
Yeah. It's just very, very weird. I know that I don't know. I don't know. See, I can only, what I was about to say was something from my perspective. I was like, I know it probably sounds like I'm just shitting on blah, 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 blah. But I don't know if it sounds like I'm shitting on people.
Some people are going to take it that way no matter what. As somebody who's been through similar things,
Fair.
I don't take it as that. I take it as you were not allowed to speak up at that time, and now you're getting to let all this shit out.
I will no longer suffer in silence.
That's my point, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
People that ain't been through shit like that or had the picture perfect Stepford wife mom shit, like,
Yeah.
well, I don't understand. That's your mom. Like, I get that you don't understand
And
that.
I'm so
but
happy that you don't
that's
understand.
great. I'm happy that you don't understand it. And like, but don't tell me that I have to sit through this shit because I don't.
No.
Nobody does.
No.
And if you had the same experience that I did, your tone might be fucking different right now.
And the thing is that, and the thing is that because your relationship with mom was the way it was, I had a trepidatious. I stayed back from her because I knew how I felt about my mom, and I'm very protective of you. There are people.
We talked about that last.
Yeah,
or this
there are
morning.
people who haven't hurt you in years, and I'm still like, I don't give a fuck. Why? What do you mean? Why?
I mean,
Because fuck
essentially,
them.
essentially, that's how I am with you too. But I know if your mind changed one day and you want to do
You would
whatever,
support me no matter what.
I'd support you 100%.
I know you would.
And I'd sit through it
I know you would.
and I deal with it because I want you to be happy. And if that's something that's going to make you happy, then I'm going to support that.
I know.
I think it's fucking dumb,
So do I.
but that's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I've been around so many fucked up people in the course of my life, just like you have, and we can't see it for ourselves sometimes.
That's fair.
We have to be told, oh yeah, because we've had that conversation 100 times where it's just like, no, babe, that shit's fucked up. And you're like, wait, oh.
Oh.
And then it dawns on you, like you didn't realize how fucked up y'all's relationship was until you started talking about it with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just all that shit, like, oh, wait, that's not normal. Oh, wait, that's fucking toxic. That's narcissistic. That's controlling.
Oh, I
Like,
shouldn't have to feel like this at all? Sign me up. And while my relationship with her didn't get traction until past two, well, no,
It was more. It was a little bit more.
I
than
would
that.
say more for me the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm being honest, because it was after Jody passed, where her and I feel really bonded.
Because you and Jody were really close, and
That was my dude.
that whole thing just essentially what I saw happen is that it kind of carried over to mom,
Yeah.
and
But then it developed into its own thing.
it was its own thing. But I'm saying both of y'all did that,
Yeah.
because she knew how much Jody loved you, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like y'all just connected over that,
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
And now that she's gone, like her passing changed me. I don't want to say broke me. It did.
Oh, it fucking broke me.
Yeah.
It
And
changed me for the better too, but it fucking broke me
Yeah.
first. Well, it still broke me.
because now I know I'm not gonna put up with shit.
We don't have time for bullshit anymore.
I don't.
The shit could stop at the drop of a dime. And what are we going to do? Are we going to sit here and the last thoughts be like, oh, I should have done better. I should have tried harder.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want my last thing to be like what my mom's was. And for me to be scared and be talking to you or Chris or Kaylee or Noe or Logan and be laughing. If that's the last fucking thing I do,
yeah,
I can't complain because I know what my brain does to me now.
Yeah.
And it is not that.
No. It would not be comfort. So
and if I get that, if I get a fraction of that,
yeah,
what I heard in her voice before I hung up the phone with her that day, if I get a fraction of that, I fucking won.
Yeah. You did. But with her passing, like I said, I'm not going to beg people to be in my life. I'm not going to beg people to be different. I don't have time to explain to you what you did.
I will explain it. I'll tell you. But
if you want to hear it. I'll tell you if you want to hear it. If you don't
I've told people whenever they didn't want to fucking hear it.
Yeah.
Because that's who I am. And now I know, based on their reaction, what the relationship's going to be going forward.
And if you...
That fucked up my eyes. Jesus, sorry.
And if you want further explanation, or if you want to have a conversation, you know where I am. My number has been the same fucking number since I was 16.
I've legitimately thought about changing my fucking number. Not that it matters. Nobody fucking texts me anyway, but...
I've thought... 3 years ago, when I went full no contact again, I thought about changing my number again. Or I thought about changing my number, not again. I thought about changing my number. But then it was like, no, not worth it. It's the same reason I'm probably never going to actually legally change my name. Because I don't want to go through all the hassle of going to the Social Security office.
Fucking stick
go
it.
Go to the go to the DPS.
That's the shit that's like pointless petty, essentially. Because like, what purpose does it actually
ultimately
serve?
I would feel a little bit better long term. I would, having no association and having no name ties and having nothing.
Agreed, but
it's too much of a hassle.
You went through all of that just to prove a point.
Yeah.
And if I'm the type of person now where I don't give a shit about proving a point, I think anybody can be a big person.
Yeah. But
that's
now,
how I look at it.
But I have a slightly different perspective on that whole
No, I agree.
thing now. And I think it's a bigger flex for me to keep my name, change my number. Bitches, you know how to fucking get a hold of me, and you haven't. You haven't done shit because you don't actually fucking care. You don't want to change. You don't want to make things better.
Well, that's how I felt about my last name for the longest fucking time. I didn't want my last name. And then it dawned on me that I love my last name. And it's because of you. It's because of the kids. Like, that's my fucking name now. It ain't yours. It's mine. I earned it. What did you do for it? You got handed it. I fucking earned it. Mm-hmm. That name means something, and it means something positive now. Fuck you.
Yeah. While I don't love my first name, and I have no pride in
that. But it's different for dudes in that aspect because our surname gets carried on through our kids and our wives and shit. You know what I mean? So it's a different dynamic. I understand that.
Mine is based on more trauma because my name in and of itself has two different stories, and I don't know which one is the fucking truth.
You're never going to know.
And I'm never going to know because one person is dead and the other person I don't talk to. So I think that's more of why I have an issue with my name and why I would want to change it. But anyway, yeah, life is going to continue to life, and we have to work on ourselves. That's literally the only thing we can do, is work on ourselves, how we react to shit, how we behave in spite of the trauma, of the bullshit, of the insecurities, all of the stuff that it creates within. That's the only thing. You want to change the world, but you don't want to change yourself. And
change yourself and you'll change your world. And it's true, because your outlook changes.
And your world, we're all fucking made of stardust, motherfuckers. We're our own little galaxies. Change your own little fucking galaxy. And if you're comfortable sitting in your own filth and your own muckery, like if that's what you want to, if you are content and comfortable sitting in your shadiness, your sketchiness, if you're cool with being unable to emotionally, if you're cool, if all of that is within your comfort zone,
solid. That's how I look at it.
My love is unconditional to everyone. I still love my mother. My love is unconditional. People's access to me,
it's not unconditional. That is very conditional, because if you act a certain way, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah. Move around, motherfuckers.
I've said that to people that I love dearly. Mm-hmm. I've separated myself from those that I love dearly. Because I can't do it. It's not fucking happening anymore.
Nope.
It's just not.
It's not. And with all of that being said, I know I talk about therapy. I think it's a good tool.
Because it is.
Because it is. And it's not going to be for everyone. Everyone's going to have some opinion on it. But these are things that work. And they will work for everyone. Talk therapy, talking and figuring out who you are and what you want in life.
Seen it work just in this conversation. Just talking about it led you to shit.
And I'm not saying that it has to be this, you have to become the opposite of who you are and cry into flower petals every morning.
I needed to. I needed to be the opposite of who the fuck I was.
Fair. Fair and valid. Nothing changes if you do nothing. You can sit there and I want to feel better about myself. And then you do the same shit you did yesterday, expecting it to work differently today. That's insanity. First and foremost. Thank you, Albert Einstein.
Definition.
I'm saying, but if you are unwilling to do the work, I'm sorry. I'm here for you when you need me. If you need my help in that journey, cool.
But if you ain't doing the work,
I gotta love you from afar.
Some kind of work. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. Self-inventory, taking accountability, shit like that.
Yeah.
It's because our oldest he's not a fan of therapy and all that shit.
Yeah, but
he is taking the steps to address the shit that he sees negatively in himself, and he's trying to rectify it actively.
Yes.
And if that's the case,
yeah,
fine. But
doing nothing
about it, and then
say that you're doing something,
band-aiding it in various ways, it doesn't work. No. It just doesn't. And that's from somebody who's done every single possible way of that.
So I encourage everyone, even if you don't want to find a therapist.
Fucking journaling has helped me immensely. Prayer, meditation. There are so many different things you can do in that avenue for self-help and figuring yourself out and taking that accountability.
Listening to other people's accounts. Listening to other people's accounts of their experience with you. And accepting that was their experience with you.
I can do that.
Anyone can.
It's possible for fucking anyone, because I think everybody that would have met me 10, 15 years ago would have said there's no way you can approach him with shit.
Oh, no. There wasn't.
And I still get some of that now.
I love you.
But
I love you whole. I married you on purpose. There was no chloroform.
That was a beautiful line.
It was.
Sorry.
I married you on purpose. I chose to. Like, and you were absolutely correct. At one point in time, there was no, hey, can you
chill the fuck out? You couldn't even say something like that. It'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, no.
You are.
If I can take constructive criticism now and do something with it, literally anybody on the planet can.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
But you can't ignore your problems. You can't.
I tried to, and it made them worse.
You can't ignore shit.
I tried to drown them. Turns out my demons can swim.
Yeah, they can.
I tried to look for it in other women, and that fucking was horrendously horrible. Yeah. That redundant. And you saw how it fucking played out. You know that that's how it fucking played out, too.
You know what? Look here, sir.
Anyway.
But I do encourage everyone to try to work on yourself, to be honest with yourself about yourself. And if you are not into talk therapy, it is what it is. There are plenty of great resources that are virtual or not.
There's like there's so much. There is so much you can use
that are outside of talk therapy. Utilize if your friends are offering help, it's okay to take that help. If you're not going to take that help, be honest why you're not going to take that help. But you also have to be, set for repercussions of not taking help also. But anyway, it's okay to mistakes and who you were and things you've done don't define you. Just because you have been a piece of shit doesn't mean you are a piece of shit or will be a piece of shit. I encourage you to look at yourself honestly, your situation honestly. Everything that you think you can't do, look at it a different way. Find different ways to look at it. Because we only get one go around on this thing. And
presumably.
Well, in this reality, in this timeline, whatever it is, we only get one go. We only get one go that we're going to remember. Shh.
That's a whole nother discussion.
I know. You know what I'm saying. Can I just get it out? We only get one go. Make it the best. Not everyone's going to be on your side, and that's okay. Even the people you think are on your side may not be on your side, and that's okay. But always work on yourself and your own world, and it will change. If you need help, if you would like resources, please always reach out. If you feel someone else may need to hear these words, please share. Email us if you have questions, message us on any social media, like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff because we are just trying to help. We are just trying to be a resource. We are just trying to be a shoulder to cry on, an open ear to listen. Try to be there for someone else who feels like they have no one else.
Because we felt like we had no
one else
for the longest
So
time.
please, just take care of yourselves and, come back later for our shit. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you like this episode or know someone who would, please help us grow the show by liking, subscribing, and sharing. Keep up with all episodes on Buzzsprout or anywhere else you get your podcasts.